I couldn't shake the bad feeling crawling in my gut that day, though I couldn't explain why. I'd planned our 20th anniversary to perfection, every detail locked in, just like I'd always done. 2 full decades of marriage deserved something special. I went all in. Steak dinner, vintage wine, a gift that would turn heads. But underneath it all, something felt off. Like a storm was coming and I just hadn't seen the clouds yet. Our house was more than a home. It was a monument to everything I'd worked for. A big 2-story place in a polished neighborhood, hedges trimmed like a country club, and a front door that looked like it belonged to a governor. Inside, warm light bounced off hardwood floors, tall ceilings, and the kind of interior design Vanessa liked to show off like a trophy. Even the fireplace, cold and unused, looked like it had been placed just to impress dinner guests. Paintings on the wall weren't just decor. They were handpicked by Vanessa, each one more expensive and pointless than the last. That night, the house reeked of grilled steak, red wine, and some overpriced vanilla candles she swore by. I'd been prepping the scene for hours. The dining table was dressed up like we were hosting royalty, white linen, glowing candles, our finest china sparkling under the chandelier. A bottle of old wine chilled nearby, sweating like it knew something I didn't. I even placed a bouquet of red roses at the center of the table, her favorite, not that it ever seemed to matter lately. Everything looked like it belonged in a magazine. Or at least, it should have. Once I had everything just right, I headed for the den. Over in the corner sat a beat-up box full of old VHS tapes and dust. I'd spent days hunting through closets and storage bins to find them. Wanted to give her something meaningful, a little rewind through the life we built. Our wedding. Our honeymoon. The days before things got complicated. Before late nights at work became the norm and silence filled the gaps we used to laugh in. I ran a hand through my graying hair and smiled to myself, holding a tape labeled Wedding 1999. 20 years, I muttered. And I remembered it all. Her white dress, her laughter, how she clung to me during that first dance like I was her whole world. I slid the tape into the old VCR, dimmed the lights, and sank into the couch as the projector kicked to life. The screen lit up with ghosts from the past, smiles, hugs, champagne, family everywhere. There she was, Vanessa, glowing beside me at the altar, promising forever. We danced, we laughed, we kissed. I watched it all with this warm ache in my chest, until the moment everything split in half. The camera, just for a second, drifted toward the crowd, just panning around, catching guests. But there, off in the background, almost hidden but clear as day, was Vanessa. Not the one standing beside me. No, this Vanessa was pressed against a wall, tangled up with a man I didn't recognize. I sat up so fast I knocked my wine glass off the table. Red splattered on the hardwood like a wound. No, 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 that's not right, I whispered. I rewound it, heart pounding in my ears. And there it was. Vanessa, laughing, her arms wrapped around the neck of some kid. A waiter, maybe. White shirt, black vest. Then she leaned in and kissed him. Not a quick one. Not a mistake. It was slow, deliberate, hungry. I felt like the floor fell out from under me. My breath caught in my throat. I watched it again just to be sure I wasn't going insane. The camera moved on, completely unaware of the little hell it had just caught on tape. But I'd seen it. And once you see something like that, you can't unsee it. My fist balled up, shaking. 20 years. 20 years I gave to that woman, busted my back to build a life with her. And on the very first day of our marriage, she was lip-locked with someone else. I stared at that paused image like it was a loaded gun. There has to be more, I whispered. I wasn't just angry, I was desperate. I tore through the box like a madman. Honeymoon. Christmas '02. Family vacation. Thanksgiving. One after another, I shoved those tapes into the player, eyes scanning like a detective on his last nerve. I searched for clues, slip-ups, anything to suggest this was more than a one-time betrayal. But there was nothing. No secret glances. No touches that lingered. Just that one moment. That one filthy kiss. I slumped back, cold despite the warm air. Was it just one drunken mistake? Or had it been a preview of something deeper, something that had been hiding under my nose all these years? My eyes landed on the wrapped gift sitting by the kitchen counter. Inside was the key fob to a Mercedes-Benz SL-Class convertible. That car had taken me weeks to pick out, tailored to her every taste. No? It just looked like proof of how stupid I'd been. I grabbed the edge of the table like it could hold me together. And right then, something snapped inside me. I needed answers. I wasn't going to live another day wondering what else had been hidden behind my back. And then, the front door opened. I heard the click of her heels echo through the marble like a judge's gavel, confident, sharp, deliberate. Vanessa stepped inside, slipped off her coat like she was walking onto a runway, not into our home. Tight black dress hugging her frame, soft curls tucked just right, lips painted with that deep red she wore when she wanted control. She paused in the foyer, eyes scanning the room like a queen inspecting her castle. The candlelight, the music, the wine, it all made her smile, that smug little smile I'd grown to hate. "Well, damn," she said, voice syrupy sweet. "You really pulled out all the stops this year." She set her purse down without a care in the world, then turned to me with eyes that sparkled, but not with love. With calculation. "I gotta admit," she added, almost teasing, "I wasn't expecting this much effort." "That's kinda sweet, Frank." I forced a grin that felt like biting glass. "It's our 20th. "Yeah," she said, slowly circling the table, letting her fingers trace the edge of a wine glass. 20 years. Feels like a whole damn lifetime, doesn't it? She chuckled softly, then locked eyes with me, head tilted like a cat sizing up a bird. Then she threw it in. So she let the word hang in the air like bait. "What's the real reason for all this?" My brow furrowed. "Excuse me." She grinned, pretending she was just making conversation. "Don't get me wrong, the setup is lovely. Dinner, candles, fancy dishes. But come on, Frank." She leaned against the table, nails clicking against the wood. "You've never been this over the top before. So what's the big reveal? What's hiding behind curtain number 3? I saw straight through her. She wasn't asking because she cared. She was fishing for a gift, a grand finale, something with a price tag. And the way she danced around it, like this was all a game she'd played 100 times before, it almost made me laugh. I set my wine glass down slow, careful, trying not to let my disgust show. Then my phone buzzed. I looked at the screen and let out an exaggerated sigh. Damn it. Vanessa's smile twitched. "What now?" I stood up, scraping the chair back. "Hospital. Emergency call. They need me on shift." Her face barely moved, but I caught it. A flash of irritation, gone in an instant, replaced with a sigh and a pout. "Frank, it's our anniversary." I shrugged, barely looking at her. "Yeah, I know. I'll make it up to you." My voice was flat, hollow, like I'd already left the room. She stared at me for a moment, like she could sense something wasn't right but didn't know where to poke. Then, just like that, her mask slid back on. "Well, before you go," she reached into her purse and pulled out a small box, wrapped up all neat and pretty. "At least open your gift." I hesitated. Then I took it. Slowly, deliberately, like I was holding a live grenade. I peeled the paper off, lifted the lid, and saw a watch gleaming under the candlelight. Looked fancy at first glance. Gold trim, sleek face, clean design. But when I picked it up, I knew. Too light, too cheap. My thumb brushed the dial, and just like that, the illusion cracked. The finish was off. The logo wasn't right. And the ticking? Loud and mechanical like a toy from a gas station. It was a fake. A $5 knockoff of a $5,000 dream. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was perfect. This is what she thought of me? I'd been about to drop thousands on a car she didn't deserve, and this was her big gesture. I shut the box with a snap and gave her a tight smile that could cut glass. "Thanks, Vanessa." Real thoughtful. She beamed like a kid who drew a crayon picture of hell and thought it was art. "I knew you'd love it." I slipped the watch into my pocket, grabbed my coat, and headed for the door. I couldn't stand to look at her any longer, not without puking. As I reached the door, her voice followed like a claw to the back. "Don't stay too late at the hospital, and don't think I forgot about my gift." I paused for half a second. Didn't even bother turning around. "Don't worry," I said. "I haven't forgotten anything." And I left her there, in that candlelit shrine of lies, to enjoy the anniversary dinner she never deserved. The hospital lounge felt colder than usual. Fluorescent lights buzzing like angry insects, burnt coffee stinking up the air. And there was Ethan Graves, chief of staff, my so-called best friend, nursing a coffee like it owed him something. He looked up as I walked in and frowned. "Jesus, man, you look like hell." I gave him a dry laugh and rubbed my temple. "Yeah? I feel worse." He motioned toward the coffee pot. "You want caffeine or whiskey?" I shook my head. "Neither. I need a name." Ethan blinked. "A name." I sat down hard and gripped the chair like it was the only thing keeping me from falling apart. "A divorce lawyer." His cup hit the counter a little too fast. What the hell happened? I ran a hand down my face, then locked eyes with him. I saw Vanessa kiss another guy. On our wedding tape. He froze. "You serious?" "Dead serious." It was in the background, just a few seconds. But clear as day. She was kissing some waiter. On our wedding day. I was 10 feet away. Ethan whistled low, rubbing his jaw. Damn. Yeah, I said. Damn is right. He leaned back in his chair, studying me. And your first move is lawyer up? I stared right through him. If she did that on day one, what the hell else has she done since? He exhaled and shook his head. Look, man. I get it. That's a tough thing to see. But you've been married for 20 years. You've got kids. A life. You really want to throw all that away over something that happened before your first anniversary? My hands clenched around my knees. So what? You think I should just ignore it? He shrugged. People screw up. Especially when they're young. Maybe she was drunk. Maybe she regretted it. My jaw twitched. And what if she didn't? He sighed like a man who's tired of giving bad advice. But something in me already knew. This wasn't a mistake. It was a warning. When I ignored for too damn long. Ethan leaned in, giving me that fake therapist tone. So what, Frank? You really gonna nuke your whole life over a couple seconds of old video? I laughed. Not the funny kind, just dry, dead air with teeth. It's not just a clip, Ethan. It's what it means. That was supposed to be our first sacred day. The day we vowed forever. And while I was pledging my life to her, she was tonguing some waiter like it was ladies' night. I looked him dead in the eye. I don't give a damn if it happened 20 years ago. She did it. That stain never left the dress. Ethan rubbed the bridge of his nose like my logic gave him a headache. Look, just don't do something you can't walk back from. I didn't say a word. Just stared down at the floor, my thoughts spinning like a blender with the lid off. He glanced at his watch, chugged the last of his coffee, and stood. Take a breath. Sleep on it. Don't burn the house down before sunrise. I gotta check on a post-op. We'll talk later. He gave me that hollow pat on the shoulder and walked off like nothing happened. The door didn't close all the way behind him. It creaked, lingered. And in stepped someone I wasn't expecting it. Ray, the janitor. Guy wasn't big on small talk. But this time, he stood in the doorway with his arms crossed and this look on his face like he'd just seen the last 5 moves of a chess match I didn't know I was playing. You really gonna take advice from that guy? He asked, cool as ice. I narrowed my eyes. Not really your business, Ray. He chuckled, dry and knowing. Maybe not. But maybe it should be. Maybe you ought to know who's whispering in your ear. I tilted my head. Meaning? Ray pulled a chair, spun it around, sat on it backward like we were in high school detention. Ethan Graves, he said with a slow exhale. Mr. Do the right thing himself. He leaned in slightly. You ever ask why his office is always locked after hours? Something shifted in my gut. The kind of twist you get when you realize your house might already be on fire. Ray saw the look. He nodded. I've worked here longer than he's been flashing that plastic smile. And I've seen stuff, Frank. Lots of stuff. I stayed quiet. Let him talk. Women. Not just nurses, either. Patients' wives, coworkers, hell, sometimes both in the same damn week. My stomach nodded. He tilted his head at me. So maybe don't take marriage tips from the guy who treats wedding vows like a punchline. I gritted my teeth. You sure about all that? He snorted. Hell yeah, I'm sure. Then leaned closer. Look, I'm not saying your wife's a saint. Maybe she screwed up. Maybe she's been screwing up for years. Or maybe she's just clever enough not to leave a trail. He pointed toward the door Ethan had just walked out of. But that guy? He ain't got the right to tell anyone what forgiveness looks like. I leaned back, stared at the wall. My mind was no longer racing, it was locked in. Ray stood up, grabbed his mop like he'd just finished giving a sermon. You're a smart guy, Frank. Don't let them play you like a fool. And then he left. And just like that. I knew what I had to do next. The next morning, I started trailing my wife. It was a Wednesday. She stopped at her usual cafe for a latte, all smiles and grace. I sat parked across the street, engine off, eyes locked on her like a hunter watching a fox stroll through a henhouse. The barista, a kid, couldn't have been older than 28, was grinning like a lottery winner the second she walked in. She leaned over the counter, smiled that practiced smile, had tilted just enough to be flirty without getting caught. I cracked my knuckles. He said something dumb. She laughed like it was comedy gold. Then, there it was. Her hand brushed his forearm. Not accidental. Not innocent. Too familiar for a married woman. He scribbled something on her cup before handing it over. She took a sip outside, looked down at the message, and smiled like she'd won something. Once she was gone, I walked in, ordered a black coffee. And while I waited, I glanced at the cup the barista had given her. You have a beautiful smile. My stomach turned. That night, she went to dinner with her best friend, Kelly. That was the usual excuse. What was unusual? Kelly's husband, Brent, was home too. I parked outside their house, peeking through the blinds. At first, it was all just chatter and wine. Then I saw the shift. Vanessa's whole posture changed, leaned toward Brent, even when Kelly was the one talking. The way she played with her wine glass, the way she laughed just a little too long at his dumb jokes. Brent, bless him, didn't seem to take the bait. But she was casting the line. And she was good at it. Friday afternoon was the final nail. She said she was downtown, shopping for our daughter's gift. I followed. She walked out of a boutique just as a cop was writing her a parking ticket. Now here's the Vanessa special. She didn't argue. Didn't get mad. Instead, she smiled. Then, smooth as butter, she placed her hand on the officer's forearm, the same damn move I'd already seen twice that week. She leaned in just close enough to blur the line. He chuckled, ripped the ticket in half, and let her go. She beamed like nothing had happened. My grip on the steering wheel turned white. This wasn't a question anymore. She was cheating. Maybe not with her body yet, but her loyalty? That ship had sunk. Now I just needed the proof. And I was going to get it. That night, I sat in my office with only my laptop lighting up the room. I started building a trap. I created someone who didn't exist. A perfect stranger. Used a stock photo, sharp suit, great hair, the look of money and power. For the face, I used Ray's. Guy didn't even have social media. Totally off-grid. Which made him the perfect ghost. Ran it through AI tools, tweaked the eyes, fixed the jawline. By the time I was done, no one would ever guess it wasn't real. His name? Daniel Holt. 42. Real estate investor. Divorced. Into sailing, fine wine, first-class flights. He looked like every rich man Vanessa had ever dreamed of cheating with. I sent her a message. She bit the hook instantly. By the end of the hour, she'd accepted the friend request. By nightfall, we were deep in conversation. At first, it was innocent. Just banter. Where are you from? What do you do? Do you travel? I gave her the answers she wanted. Self-made. Successful. Confident. Charming. Then she hit me with it. Said she was a widow. I had to reread it 3 times. Not separated. Not unhappy. A widow. She spun a whole fairy tale about losing her husband, how she'd mourned for years, and how finally, she was ready to love again. I nearly threw the laptop across the room. By day 2, she was flirting. By day 3, she was the one messaging me first. By the end of the week, she was spilling things no married woman should ever say to a stranger. She said she was lonely, that she craved passion again, that she wanted to feel something. At first, it was all imagine if. Imagine meeting someone who made you feel alive. Imagine leaving it all behind and starting over. Then the imagining stopped. She started confessing. I haven't been touched the way I want in years. I think about you at night. The next day, I sat across from Derek Klein, divorce attorney to the high and mighty. The room reeked of leather, power, and cold revenge. Derek leaned back in his chair, hands folded, waiting for me to talk. We got married young, I said, my hands clenched. Back in med school. We were broke. Ate noodles for dinner. Barely slept. Then she dropped out. Said medicine wasn't for her, wanted to focus on family. I supported that. Worked like a dog so she didn't have to. I built the career. Bought the house. Paid for everything. Vacations, cars, private school for the kids. And now here we are. Derek gave a slight nod. And on paper, everything's split? Straight down the middle, I said. The house. My savings. My retirement. She gets half. He let out a sharp breath through his nose. That's the law. I scoffed. Yeah, well, the law's got a soft spot for freeloaders. He tapped his pen on the desk. So let me ask you, do you want her to walk away with nothing? I locked eyes with him. I want what's fair. He leaned forward slightly, voice lower. Fair's a slippery thing in divorce court, Frank. Klein leaned back, steepling his fingers like a man about to deliver a death sentence. The system doesn't care that you worked yourself to the bone, 16-hour shifts, damn near breaking your back, while she sat at home spending your paycheck. It doesn't care that she never brought in a single dollar. What matters is she was your wife. And for 20 years, that makes her legally entitled to half. Then he paused. That kind of pause that usually ends with a firebomb. I leaned in. Unless what? He folded his hands slowly, his voice dropping. Unless we can prove she broke the contract. Infidelity. Real, undeniable, no room for debate kind. My jaw tensed so hard I thought I'd crack a tooth. I've got messages, I said, from a fake profile I made. I catfished her, and she went for it like it was her damn honeymoon. He raised an eyebrow. Clever, but not bulletproof. That won't hold up in court. She'll scream entrapment the second we show it. What we need is physical proof. Something you can touch. Photos, video. We need her caught in the act. I let out a breath through my nose, sharp and bitter. I'd been hoping those texts would be the kill shot. So I have to catch her red-handed? He nodded. And it's got to be airtight. Something no lawyer in the world can twist into a misunderstanding. I ran a hand through my hair, my mind running faster than my heart. All right, I'll get it. What else? I asked, like I was loading a second round in the chamber. Klein tapped his pen slowly on the desk. We dig deeper. Hidden money. Secret spending. Any sign she's been siphoning off funds. Credit cards, statements, burner accounts. I shook my head. Not that I know of. His lips curled into a smirk. Then find out. Cheaters lie about more than just their lovers. You peel back enough layers, you'll find rot. For the first time in days, something sparked inside me. A plan. And if I do get the proof? I asked. Klein's smile turned cold. Then we bury her. Burn it all down. On paper, in court, in life. By the second week of playing Daniel Holt, Vanessa was already nibbling at the bait. And then, she bit down hard. She told Daniel she wanted to meet him. Somewhere private. Somewhere discreet. She didn't hesitate. A hotel. And she couldn't wait. I sat parked outside the Rosewood Hotel, calm as a sniper. Hands steady on the steering wheel, mind locked in. Next to me, Ray fidgeted in the passenger seat, tugging at his blazer. The Rolex I'd loaned him gleamed on his wrist, a little too flashy for a janitor-turned-decoy. I don't know, man, he muttered. This ain't exactly part of my mop and bucket duties. I glanced at him. You said you wanted to help. This is how. He ran a hand over his bald head, sighing like a man walking into a minefield. Yeah, but seducing your wife? Kind of feel like HR would frown on that. I gave a crooked smirk. You're not seducing her. You're just showing her who she's willing to betray me for. Ray gave a short, bitter laugh. Well, that makes it so much better. I pulled an earpiece from the console and handed it to him. I'll be in your ear the whole time. Just do what I say. He stared at it for a beat, then slipped it in. I should have asked for a damn raise. I chuckled. You'll get something better. You'll get front row seats to karma. Room 1408 was prepped like a crime scene. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Warm, flattering lighting. A suite built for sin. But every inch of it was wired. Camera hidden in a decorative clock. Voice recorder tucked inside the lamp. Every whisper, every glance, it'd all be captured. Now all I had to do was wait. She showed up 15 minutes early. And the second I saw her on the feed, I knew. This wasn't her first rodeo. She walked in like she owned the place. Silk robe, blood red, tied just tight enough to tease what was underneath. She checked her hair in the mirror, adjusted her necklace, poured herself wine. She looked too comfortable. Then came the knock. She smiled, expecting Daniel. But when she opened the door, there was Ray. For a moment, she just stared. Her face went from curiosity to confusion to something that looked a lot like disgust. Her voice sliced through the room. What the hell is this? Ray swallowed. Hey, sweetheart. Gotta say, you look even better in person. I winced. Jesus, Ray. She crossed her arms, all fire and frost. You're not Daniel. Ray stepped in like he still had a shot. I go by a lot of names. Her body language screamed it. Something was off. She wasn't feeling it. Not because she had second thoughts, but because the man in front of her didn't match the fantasy she'd been lusting over. He didn't move like Daniel. Didn't carry himself like a man with yachts and stock portfolios. And she noticed. She squinted at him. Say something in French. Ray blinked. Bonjour. I slapped my forehead behind the laptop. Come on, man. Her face hardened. You're a damn fraud. Ray tried to recover, stepped toward her. Hey, baby, you wanted a night of passion, didn't you? She pulled back like she'd been slapped. Get out. Wait, he stammered. Just, let's talk. I said get out. Her voice cracked the air. Her face twisted, equal parts anger and embarrassment. Ray didn't need to be told again. He turned and left. As soon as the door shut, I let out a long breath. She didn't go through with it. But it wasn't because she'd found her conscience. It was because she thought he wasn't good enough. If Daniel had been real, if the fantasy had shown up in a flesh and blood suit, She'd have been in the sheets in under 5 minutes. That's when it hit me. She wasn't loyal. She was just picky. Then I saw her grab her phone. My pulse spiked. In my earpiece, Ray whispered, "She's calling someone." I locked in on the screen. Vanessa raised the phone to her ear, her voice like silk-soaked poison. "Ethan, I've got some free time. Right now. Rosewood Hotel. You know it. We've been here before." Boom. There it was. The final dagger. Ethan, my best friend. The man who told me to calm down, to forgive, to sleep on it. She called him. And just like that, the game changed. "I'm waiting," she said. "Ethan, Vanessa, together." It all snapped into place. I gripped the steering wheel, eyes locked on Ethan's black BMW, pulling into the Rosewood Hotel. My heart didn't pound. It hammered. He stepped out like he was walking into a business meeting. Tie straight. No guilt. He wasn't sneaking because in his mind, he didn't need to. My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. So it's real. Not just flirty messages. Not some weak moment. She's been with him all along. My best friend. He strolled toward the entrance like nothing mattered. I followed. Outside room 1408, I waited. Silence in the hallway. Muffled music from another suite. Then the door creaked open. Vanessa's voice, light and breathy. Too happy. You're early." Ethan laughed. Couldn't wait. The door shut. I stood just out of sight, dead calm. No rage. No tremble. Just cold. The mic in the lamp picked up every word. "Vanessa." God, I was so nervous. "Ethan, why?" "Vanessa. Frank has been acting weird. Like he suspects something." Ethan chuckled. "Maybe he finally stopped obsessing over you." She giggled. "Can you imagine? Frank letting me breathe." Glass clinked. "Ice. A drink." "Ethan, do you regret it?" "Vanessa, what?" "Ethan, us." "Vanessa. Only regret? Not doing it sooner." Silence. Then him, sliding close. "What if he finds out?" Her voice dropped. "He won't. Even if he does, he won't do anything." Ethan laughed. "He always covers for me. He's got my back." Vanessa smirked. "Exactly. If he takes you down, he goes with you." I closed my eyes. They thought I was trapped. They thought I'd protect them. They had no idea. Fabric rustled. A moan. That was enough. I opened the stream. One tap. Live video broadcast straight to the hospital's staff channel. And every country club where Vanessa strutted like a queen. Then I stood, walked to the wall, and pulled the fire alarm. Inside the room, chaos. "Vanessa, what the hell?" Ethan scrambled, shirt halfway on. "Shit." Hotel intercom buzzed. "Attention guests, evacuate immediately." She grabbed her robe, hands shaking. He wiped sweat off his face, bolted for the door. Outside, guests spilled into the hallway. And I was waiting, calm, centered, like a man at a funeral. They stepped out and saw me. Vanessa froze. Ethan's face turned white. I smiled. "Evening." Vanessa stammered. Ethan gasped. "Frank, this isn't." I tapped my phone. The recording played on full volume. Vanessa's voice. "The only thing I regret is not doing this sooner." "Ethan, he won't do anything." "Vanessa, if he takes you down, he goes too." Her face went pale. Ethan's jaw locked. I stared at them. And for the first time, I felt nothing. Vanessa clutched her robe tighter, her voice shaky. "Frank, please, it was a mistake. I don't love him." I laughed. Sharp. Cruel. "Tell me, Vanessa, was it also a mistake when you planned to meet Daniel Holt?" She went stiff. Mouth opened, then shut. I tilted my head, daring her. She blinked fast. "I don't know what you're talking about." I held up the screen, her own messages. "You called me your fantasy. You said you couldn't wait to be in my arms. You told me you were a widow." Silence. "Ethan, Jesus, Vanessa, shut the hell up." She snapped. "You're not helping." I stepped closer. "Oh, he's helping just fine." Her voice cracked. "Frank, please. I love you." My gut twisted from the insult of it. "You love me." I took one more step. Voice cold. "Is that why you've been screwing my best friend? Is that why you flirted with strangers online?" Tears welled up. "It wasn't real," she whispered. "I was lonely. You were always gone. I just needed to feel wanted." I stared her down. No rage. No pity. Just disgust. I laughed, this time for real. But there wasn't a drop of humor in it. Needed to feel wanted? He stepped in, voice dropping to a whisper that cut like steel. "Did you feel wanted when you wrapped your legs around him?" Vanessa gasped. Ethan stiffened, trying to flip the script. "All right. That's enough." He squared up. Voice cold. Frank, I get it, you're pissed. But this isn't a courtroom. You want to end it? Fine. But leave me out of it. I turned to him slowly. You think you get to walk? Ethan scoffed. Yeah, I do. And if you've got a shred of sense left, you'll keep this between you and your wife. I raised a brow. Or what? Ethan's jaw tightened. Or I'll fire you. Silence. Vanessa's head snapped to him. Ethan. I didn't move. Ethan stepped forward, confidence growing again. I sign your paychecks, remember? You take this public, you go down with me. You sure you want to torch your own life? I just stared. Ethan pushed harder. You're not going to do a damn thing. Handle your divorce like a man. Leave me out of it. Or you're jobless by Monday. Vanessa looked panicked. Ethan, stop. I moved. Fast. My fist slammed into Ethan's jaw with a loud crack. Ethan crashed into the wall, holding his face. Son of a... Vanessa gasped. I stepped in close, towering. Voice low. Calm. Deadly. You should be scared. Ethan groaned, spitting blood. Of what? I smirked. Of all the times I redid your botched surgeries. Of the reports I covered. Of the medical board I'm calling tomorrow morning. Ethan's face went white. You wouldn't. I tilted his head. Try me. Ethan's chest heaved, panic setting in. Vanessa turned to me, desperate. Don't ruin everything. I laughed under his breath. You already did. And he walked away, left them both standing in the wreckage. I sat across from his lawyer. Divorce papers on the desk. 20 years summed up in cold legal ink. Derek Klein studied him. Once you sign, it's filed. She'll be served this week. I didn't hesitate. I took the pen. Signed. It was done. But he wasn't finished. Ethan wasn't walking away clean. I gathered every file, negligence, patient complaints, protocol violations. Years of dirt. I dropped it on the hospital director's desk. You should have handled this a long time ago. 3 days later, the investigation opened. Ethan was suspended. Me? I had nothing left to lose. Then came the knock at my door. Lauren and Chloe. I knew Vanessa had gotten to them first. Lauren, sharp, loyal, no nonsense. Chloe, emotional, just like her mother. They didn't say a word at first. I could feel the tension in the room. Lauren's arms crossed. Mom told us. I nodded. Figured she would. Chloe sighed. She's a mess, Dad. Really struggling. I clenched his jaw. She should be. Chloe stepped forward. You're ending everything over one mistake? Lauren turned fast. One mistake. Chloe shifted, uncomfortable. Okay, yeah, it was bad. But you were never around. She was lonely. That landed like a blade in my ribs. Chloe lowered her voice. You were always working. Always distant. Maybe she just needed more. Lauren snapped. More? She had everything. He gave her everything. Chloe muttered. People need more than money, Lori. Lauren's eyes narrowed. You think this is about money? She pointed at me. He never missed a birthday. A holiday. We had a home, a family, because of him. Chloe rubbed her temples. Relationships aren't black and white. Lauren cut in, sharp. So cheating's okay now? Chloe flinched. No. I'm just saying. I get why it happened. I finally spoke. Voice low. Controlled. Do you? Chloe looked at him. I leaned in. If your husband does to you what your mother did to me, would you just understand? Chloe opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Lauren turned slowly. Her voice was ice. My God. You're defending her because you've done it. Chloe went pale. Lauren laughed, bitter. No wonder this doesn't feel like a big deal to you. Chloe stiffened. It's not like that. Lauren rolled her eyes. Of course it is. Chloe crossed her arms, defensive. People screw up. That doesn't make them evil. Lauren shook her head. You sound just like Mom. Chloe looked away. The silence got heavy. I stood. I'm filing for divorce. That's final. Chloe's eyes jumped. You don't have to. I cut her off with a breath. I do. She didn't argue. Just grabbed her coat and walked out. Lauren watched her leave. She'll come around. Or she won't. Either way, it's on her. I nodded. And for the first time in a long time, I felt lighter. The hospital boardroom was a cold, lifeless box. Perfect place to end a career. I sat across from the panel. The file of evidence lay neatly stacked. Across from it, Ethan Graves, sweating through his shirt. Dr. Lowell cleared his throat. Dr. Callahan, you filed a formal complaint against Dr. Graves. Do you have evidence? I nodded. I've documented years of complaints. Misdiagnosis. Surgical errors. All brushed under the rug. Low murmurs rippled around the table. Dr. Patel frowned. Why now? I looked him dead in the eye. Because I covered for him. I fixed his mistakes. I thought I was protecting this hospital. I was wrong. Ethan snapped. This is a goddamn witch hunt. I didn't flinch. Just slid a USB drive across the table. Everything's on there. The board read in silence. Reports. Records. Names. Ethan shook his head. This is crap. If Callahan had issues, why wait until now? I turned to him. Calm. Steady. Because I thought you were my friend. But when you threatened my job to cover your own ass, that told me everything I needed to know. Ethan's face drained. Dr. Lowell leaned forward. Dr. Graves, do you have any defense? Ethan opened his mouth, closed it. Nothing. Lowell sighed, setting the file down. Effective immediately, Dr. Graves is suspended. The Medical Ethics Committee will review his license. Ethan froze. This is insane. I finally let myself exhale. Quiet victory. 2 weeks later, same boardroom. Different tone. Dr. Lowell smiled. Dr. Callahan, the board unanimously agrees. You're the new chief of medicine. I blinked. Excuse me. You've proven yourself. We need leadership with integrity. I paused, then nodded. I accept. Ethan was out. I was in. The divorce dragged. But I played it smart. I brought everything. The videos, the recordings, the texts. Derek Klein did the rest. Mr. Callahan supported this family for 20 years, Klein said. He paid for everything. She contributed nothing. And she cheated, repeatedly. Vanessa's lawyer tried. Argued it wasn't financial abuse. But the judge didn't bite. No spousal support. No house. No assets. The judge's words echoed. This court finds Mrs. Callahan's claims unsupported. The assets remain with Mr. Callahan. Vanessa looked like she'd been slapped. No money. No home. No lifeline. So she did what I expected, ran to Chloe. She showed up at her daughter's door, suitcase in hand. Baby, I just need a place to stay. Chloe shifted. Mom, I would, but... Vanessa's stomach twisted. But what? Chloe exhaled. Tyler doesn't want you here. Vanessa blinked. What? I told him about the cheating. The divorce. He said if I let you stay, I'd just repeat your mistakes. Vanessa's voice cracked. So what? You're choosing him over me. Chloe flinched. I have nowhere else to go. If I let you in, I lose my place too. Vanessa's mouth went dry. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She always thought Chloe would protect her. Back her. But the door didn't stay open. I'm sorry, Chloe whispered. And then, click. The door closed. Vanessa stood there, suitcase in hand. For the first time in her life, she had no backup plan. No one left to fool. And no one to blame but herself. Out in the driveway, I stood in front of the Mercedes-Benz SL, sleek, shining, untouched. The same car I'd once planned to gift her. Now, it smelled like a future that never happened. I ran a hand across the hood, quiet. Was this supposed to be Mom's? I turned. Lauren stood nearby, arms crossed. Eyes sharp. Voice softer. I nodded. Yeah, but she didn't earn it. Lauren let out a breathy laugh. And I did. I smiled. You stood by me. You didn't make excuses. You saw the truth. You earned it. Lauren's eyes welled, but she played it cool. Well, I won't say no to a free Mercedes. I chuckled, tossed her the keys. Then it's yours. She caught them easy. Thanks, Dad. I just nodded. You deserve better than all this. As she pulled out of the driveway, I felt it. Peace. For once, something good had come from all the wreckage. Weeks later, I spotted Ray near the janitor's closet, glancing at his schedule. I walked up, cleared my throat. Ray. The man looked up, still guarded. Dr. Callahan? I smirked. Still weird hearing that. Ray shrugged. A little. Thought you'd be too important to talk to us lowly janitors now. I crossed his arms. You're not a janitor anymore. Ray blinked. What? I handed him a folded contract. I need someone running operations. Someone who sees when things are off. You've got instincts, Ray. The board signed off. Facilities manager. Office, benefits, real pay. Ray scanned it. Whistled. Damn. Smirked. Thank you, Dr. Callahan. To you. Ray chuckled. You serious? I nodded. You had my back when no one else did. Now it's my turn. Ray rubbed his neck. Didn't think today was going to be a promotion day. I grinned. You earned it. Time passed. A slow afternoon at the hospital. I got the call, ER walk-in. Broken wrist. Mild concussion. He sighed. Yeah, I'll take it. Walked into the exam room, flipping through the chart. Miss Monroe, I'm Dr. Calla. I froze mid-sentence. There she was. Tessa Monroe. Same eyes. Same quiet confidence. Still beautiful, even bruised and bandaged. She looked up, stunned. Frank Callahan? I laughed softly. Didn't expect to see you in my ER. She smirked, wincing. Didn't expect to need an ER, but here we are. I crossed his arms. Last time I saw you, you were ditching med school to chase the world. Tessa grinned. Yeah, well, turns out the world fights back. Slipped on a sidewalk. I gestured to her wrist. Let's take a look. As I worked, the air changed. Something between us, still alive. She raised an eyebrow. Chief of medicine? Huh? Look at you. I smiled. You always said I was too ambitious. She smirked. Now look at you. Whole damn hospital under your thumb. I met her eyes. And you? Still breaking hearts across continents? She laughed. Depends. You off ringers again? I paused, then grinned. Maybe. Her gaze lingered. There it was. Something real. Something new. As I wrapped her wrist, my hand slowed, just slightly. She raised a brow. If you're flirting, you should probably buy me dinner first. I chuckled. I'll take that as a yes. She smirked. Damn right it is. And just like that, I laughed. Genuine. Unburdened. Maybe life still had a few twists left. Maybe it was just beginning. So there it is, fellas. A marriage buried. A traitor exposed. A man rebuilt from the ashes. I didn't just survive. I won. Quietly. Brutally. Completely.